I mean,
I was a stylist. You were everything. I don't know. We just work. I think that will just follow the moment that doesn't happen.
favorite show.
That last one box to the head tram and to the cameras, and suddenly I see the pillar is gone, 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 gone.
तो बताइए सबसे पहले आपकी जर्नी एज ए शो डायरेक्टर.
Started from college, wasn't planned at all. I was doing eco honors, and as usual in your fest, there was a competition, and you take part of the competition. It was a choreography competition. I don't know why they kept it, but it was there. It was a choreography competition, and I remember I choreographed a scene with some friends, and it got the first prize. The person who was giving the prize was Mr. Vijay Mehta, and he was launching a brand that time which was very, very big called Intershop and Fuse all over the country. So he just came to me and he said, young girl, come here, and would you like to do the fashion shows on a professional level? I was like, yes sir, why not? Na to mana to kabhi kiya hi nahi.
It was a beginning.
This is when he's talking to a college kid who's third year, just going to graduate, hasn't even graduated yet.
Okay.
So he said, look, I'm launching it in Simla, in Bombay, in Punjab, in blah, blah, blah. Will you be able to do the shows? Queenie was my friend. And
Okay.
Priya Kakkar was my friend. So I was fortunate to have friends like that because I was already trying to run a modeling agency. So I just came back and I discussed with Queens, I remember, and Anu Ahuja was also one of the models that time. She was also from my school, so I knew her. So everybody supported. And that's how I started doing the shows. And then he was also the president of IMA. So he
Okay.
said, why don't you do the shows of IMA? Then he said, why don't you do this show, that show? And honestly, he was God sent. I didn't even have to think, okay, what am I going to do next? Show ke baad show, it just continued. And I just realized I was in the middle of the industry.
Oh wow, that's great. So doing a show in that time, that era, and doing a show at this particular time, what is the difference both of the time?
I love this time. I think this is so much better because I was not just a show director, I was a stylist. You were everything. You were the modeling agency, you were casting for your shows, which of course you still do even now with your clients, but you were styling your shows and you were obviously doing everything you were doing, including the set design and all of that. So you didn't have so much of professional help. Now there's help for everything. So, like for example, I have someone who does my music, cuts my music. You were only running to the studios, cutting your music. I remember you had to go to Sanju and Chet in Bombay and, cut your music. You were like a one-man person, but now there are so many people to help you. So it helps you create what you want to create on the stage even better. So I think this is so much better.
Oh, that's good. And source of energy of yours. I mean, you're always the same, always energetic.
Sanjay, I just feel that if you genuinely love what you do, which is what I say, it just comes. You don't have to work. I mean, every time, you enter your green room or you're meeting with a designer or you're doing something in your industry, you just love it. So I think you just get excited and so you do. That energy just comes.
No. Favorite show or shows till now?
So, there are a lot of shows. I mean, every show you do is very close to you and you feel it and that's why you're doing it. But I think the launch of Puma in the country will definitely be my favorite show. If I remember right, it was for a client called Planet Sports. They came to me and they said, we're launching this international brand called Puma and, let's do something different. And so I was like, I hadn't done too many sports shows that time and I had just done maybe one for Liberty, for Mr. Gaurav Gupta, and so I was like, kya kare, something which is going to be really different. So, you have these kalandars on every red light, you have these acrobats, these kids. So we collected about 20 to 30 of them and we gave them Puma shoes, we gave them all white kurtas and pajamas from Khadi, and that was the coming of Puma to the country. So I still remember that it was merchandise as well as shoes. So the last ramp was Jessie Randhawa coming and giving that last one box to the head tram and to the cameras. And suddenly 20, 30 of these kids were unleashed and there was wild energy in the whole hall. I still remember Guda coming to me after that and saying, how did you do it? I mean, that was one of the best compliments.
I mean, I can feel it, the energy, the vibration.
Yeah, it is
everything.
lovely, it is good fun, it is such fun.
So, according to you, brand show or designer show?
I do both.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I just feel I'm more of a brand person. I love doing designer shows because every designer is also a brand now. And there are just some designers that you just, you find their clothes such fun, you know, whether it's Rohit or Rahul. I mean, all of them are so good. Even if, I mean, whether it's Rimzim Dadu or whether it's Anand Bhushan, whether it's Nikita Tandon, whether it's Joy Mitra. I mean, each one, if you see, is a different brand. But there is no doubt I enjoy doing brand shows too because, you get to do a lot more. And it's definitely not a 30 garment show, it's a larger show. So I love it, and there's every time there is a communication, you know, in the with the
So
brand
why
wants to
this
communicate.
question came because what I found in you, all the time when you're doing a show with a designer, there's a different mindset or energy. When you're doing something with the brand, this whole scenario is getting totally different direction.
Yeah, it is. It is to an extent because in a brand, firstly, I'm not handling one collection. Most of the time, you're handling about 3 scenes or 4 scenes or 5 scenes, sometimes 6 scenes. So you're changing, you're doing many shows in that one show. So yeah, it's important to understand. Like for example, even if I do like a one-off show with Kazo or one-off show with Marks and Spencer, one-off show with, so even there I try to understand what are they trying to launch, what is the collection all about, and try and get that on the ramp. So, you know, I think the difference is just reducing because designers are also becoming brands, but there is no doubt I enjoy working with multiple brands.
Okay. So why getting up so early? I mean, I know that you have achieved a lot. I think now you can rest a little bit more.
Oh my God, I've just started. It's, you know, when the ride is good and you're enjoying the ride, you just want to accelerate it further. And I just feel that now with Gopalika coming into the industry and my daughter and my younger one getting ready to come in, the whole house, we're just talking all the time about fashion, one aspect or the other. It's never been so energizing and so exciting. So I think it's more fun now than it's ever been.
I was about to ask this question only. Being in this family, like the whole family is working to fashion.
Right.
So like it's sometimes obviously it's going to be good, but it's good all the time.
Don't forget, my son is also from the fashion industry now. I mean, you know that. So it's my daughters, my son, all of us. We are from the industry, and I think it's great because it's not that we talk of work all the time. We also talk of personal issues, but I think it's great because we're all on the same platform. So we understand each other's problems, or we understand a hitch, or if Gopalika suddenly is flying to Coimbatore, or if Dhruv has to fly suddenly somewhere, or if Sanjay has to fly, we all understand. And if someone hasn't met someone for 10 days, there are no grievances. We understand, it happens. So I think you just understand the the nature of your work so much more.
And getting more money.
I don't know. We just work. I think that will just follow the moment that doesn't happen.
Okay. Are we as a show director?
So, I may say that I enjoy what I do, but I don't take my work easy. I mean, I don't take it laid down, or I don't take it for granted, or you're always trying to do something new, or you're always trying to do something in your choreography, or the lighting, or the set. So, I think RV as a show director is always searching for that one thing in that show, which is what I call the tipping point in your show, which gives you the goosebumps. If any of my show doesn't give a goosebump, it means that definitely something was missing, which is what you don't want to do. Until unless sometimes I've had designers come and tell me that, please run it flat. We want it flat. We don't want a tipping point. We don't want a crescendo. Run it flat. I appreciate that approach too. But for me as a show director, even then my light has to be clean, and then the choreography has to be clean. Even that has to be done meticulously. So that's how you do it.
I remember one show we have done together, and that client asked me, all the models need to dance. If you remember, Ahmedabad.
Okay. Yes, and we changed everything overnight,
Yes.
you know, and because that's what the client wanted. I wasn't very sure, but when we did it, then we did it, you know. So
earlier you were not ready. I went, how it's not right.
yeah.
Then you have done it. Fantastic. I mean, It was so good.
I think so. You have to understand, maybe, the client wanted to portray his brand in a certain way.
Exactly.
And I felt the clothes were nice and they could have been portrayed in a certain way. But, he was very sure that he wanted that kind of an element. And I think it worked out well. We kind of amalgamated the dance and the catwalk together.
Right.
And it looked nice.
So one more question. Your worst show till now.
My worst show till now.
Something got wrong because of you, not because of anybody else.
It wasn't a worst show, but it was a glitch which I can't forget, because I was working with a very, very senior light designer, and very senior light designer, and the designer I was working for was a new designer. It's intolerable when a senior technician feels that just because the designer is new, you can take it easy just because you've done 2,000 shows and the designer is just a new designer. And in spite of rehearsing, the choreography was she comes forward and there is a little self-lit globe in her hand and she takes it up. It's basically environment, and which the designer wanted to communicate and save the environment. And there was a particular lighting that I had done, and on cue that lighting didn't come. It just broke my heart. It just broke my heart because I knew how much it meant to that designer,
Right.
and I knew that the light designer didn't take this very seriously. That's when it really breaks your heart, when your team. So it's not the light designer, I just felt my team failed me. So that's one time I just felt that, technical glitches to hote hain. Sometimes, the light goes off. It doesn't happen now, but it used to happen in
Earlier, yes.
earlier, and everybody understood, and when you came up on ramp, everybody clapped and all of that. It's everybody understands. But it doesn't happen now, but this glitch could have been avoided if he had paid more attention and made a mark on the cue sheet. So I just feel that wasn't cool. It doesn't leave me.
Still.
Yeah, it just doesn't leave me. The designer just was, it would have looked really nice.
I understand. Nowadays, there was a time when, one good show was happening in a month or maybe twice in a month. Now it's like every day you can hear, you can see anywhere this fashion week, that fashion week. So there is not a single show. Now it's a season of fashion weeks. It keep happening each and every day. So what do you think? Like, is something changing the world and getting more work, or is just killing the art of fashion?
So in my opinion, I think an event or a fashion week is there. If there are many, 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 they are there for a reason. But yes, eventually only the good ones will survive and the rest will all just fade off. They will be just one-off. As long as they help our industry, as long as they help the designers, they give them a better platform and is doing something good. Because there's not just one tier, 2 tier, 3 tier of designers. If you just put your hand into the industry, there are so many tiers down.
Right.
So, designers were not even heard. Certain fashion weeks won't entertain them or will not take them seriously, and they find these other fashion weeks helping them out and to establish their brand. I think it's not bad at all. But I think good work and serious people and serious fashion weeks will sustain and the others will eventually fade off.
True. Your favorite fashion designer?
My favorite fashion designer, I have worked with so many of them. I started my career with, obviously with Rina Dhaka and J.J and with Gupta. Some very, very serious, talented people, because we were all the same age group. We were all starting together. I have the privilege of having started from there, and I don't think I have any particular favorite fashion designer. I have favorite shows. I might have favorite collections. And I'm one person who believes in the young energy and the newer designers. So I'm not biased. Like, I'm not very excited if I'm doing a show with a seasoned designer vis-a-vis a new designer. Maybe I will opt for the new designer, depending on the energy. Where is the energy more? So having said that, I also find certain senior designers reinventing their energies, which is so fantastic. And the way they are coming back and the way they're launching their collections, I think it's just getting better. So it's the energy you chase, it's not the designer.
You are not going to take any name, right?
They're all friends, Sanjay. They're all friends.
So, new one, the next gen, the generation now.
There are so many of them, and they're all so exciting to work with. And, each one has such a distinct style that, it's fun to work with them in that style, really. So I would say it's so difficult to pinpoint on one.
Right. So, are we as a person?
I think Arvi as a person is, I enjoy my work, but I don't live to work. I mean, I love it when every time a client, when, I pick up an assignment, I know my time is bought by that client. My creativity is bought by that client. But I do appreciate my free time. I do appreciate doing other things. I have so many other things that I do and so many other things I want to pursue. But there is no doubt that, you want to be a multifaceted, you are, I think all of us are. We don't get the time or we don't prioritize. That is something I have realized post-COVID, that it's very, very important to prioritize, and which is what I'm trying to do. So Arvi as a person would be, I know I'm very calm at my shows. I hate high tones and high voices, or I like to, because it's something you're trying to create.
Yeah, I know, you're always calm.
I love to do it like that. You've really got to get me on an edge. You've really got to be stubborn to get me on an edge. It's very tough to get me on the edge. And there's no doubt, I don't say that I've never been on the edge. I will never say that I have not done a ma bhen or whatever to my carpenters when they've really, really, forced it out of me because they're just, loitering around, not doing the work or whatever. You deal with certain sternness. But for me, my workspace, my MSA is like, it's like a meditative place. There's an energy we're going to try and channelize there. So that's how we do. I mean, and I think even the people I work with are all very nice people.
Great. Sound very nice. I think I should
Who
be
are not
happy.
nice, I don't work with. Galti ek baar hoti hai, baar nahi.
Okay. So there's anything missing in your career?
Anything missing in my career? The only thing I feel that I just, sometimes when I take up an assignment nowadays, of course, shows have gone digital, so they take a lot of your time, much more, because, you're investing more time in it, because it's not just the show that you do digitally, now you're into the edits, and then you're on the CCs, and then you're on smoke, and then you're so it's just become extended. Now one show has become multiple shows. So what I feel is that in this process, somewhere, one of my babies has got neglected, which is my modeling agency. I just feel from my heart that, I wish I had more time for TRMM. And that's one baby. I was hoping that one of my kids takes it up. But I think Gopi and Puna both are more inclined towards the bigger picture. And,
Right.
So the moment I get time, that's one baby I'm going to lift.
I think because it was very close to your heart from the beginning.
Yeah, and TRMM has launched some great talent in the country. And,
absolutely.
So I just feel that, and it needs time. You can't run a modeling agency without you being there. So I just feel that that's one thing, if I have the time, I want to really invest in a good modeling agency which can support good talent and take that forward.
So how many hours are you working in a day?
Did it sound like I work throughout the day? I start my office at about 10:30 and finish at about 8:30. And but it takes quite a chunk of the day. And especially after COVID, there is no doubt we realized suddenly we're very short-staffed. And because in COVID you were multitasking, and suddenly you realize that yaar, ye to hum sab kuch hi khud kar rahe hain, because you were doing it. And but now that's taking too much time because hands are full, so you need to give work. So now we are really looking into the HR of it. But yeah, you end up working about 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours.
अगर आप शो डायरेक्टर नहीं होते तो क्या होते?
If I wasn't a show director, I definitely feel I would be in architecture or spaces, because I love doing set design. So I love it. So I would be investing more time in set design or interiors. I definitely would be there.
Something related to designing only.
Yeah, but sets, more into sets.
You're very close to that arts and sets and those kind of things.
I love it, yeah. I love designing spaces. I think that's what Gopalika has really taken on also, because even she loves designing spaces and sets, and that's what we do. I remember the moment we would start discussing a show with any designer, the first thing I would start visualizing, okay, what is the backdrop? What is the set? Ye to LED aa gaya, and then suddenly
Actually,
a lot of our sets just
even
died.
I don't like LED.
Yeah, but the benefit is when you're doing multiple shows like fashion weeks, then it gives you the backdrop that you want, so it has benefits. But,
That's right, but
that set has died.
that feel.
Yeah. But,
It's gone
now
now.
it's coming back.
It's coming
because,
back, yes.
Now a lot
Day
of
by day, yes.
shows are doing sets.
So any advice you want to give to the coming generation or newest people who's entering into fashion field?
So I feel that a lot of kids who come and intern with us, and they come from very good institutes, the first thing I tell them is that there are no escalators to success. You have to take one step at a time. And it takes a lot of hard work. I've had a lot of them resign because they get burnt out, and I don't understand this word burnt out. I mean, what do you mean burnt out? Just because you work for 4 days for 18 hours a day, what do you mean burnt out? You're young, you're supposed to do that, and you're enjoying every moment. There has to be gratitude. So, but I've had these kids, some of them, in fact 2 of them just recently, that, you know, I'm burnt out completely, I can't do this, I can't sleep at 3 o'clock and get up for a... Then you're in the wrong profession.
Exactly.
So fashion industry is like this. It's very challenging. It's not just what meets the eye. A lot of hard work, a lot of discipline, and your focus. Of course, there is no doubt you have to be creative, and you need to know where you're going. There are so many paths here. There are so many careers here that you can take up. You can be a makeup artist. You can be a set director. You can be a show director. You can so many things. You can get into lighting. We're always hunting for light designers. So, but definitely, if you're planning to get into the fashion industry, decide which line you want to pick up, and be ready to work hard. You can't be partying in clubs in the night and come for a shoot in the morning. I can see it on your face. So you can't do it.
You know, I think it's the biggest challenge for everyone nowadays. They get burned out very easily.
I don't know why. it's because the kids are, I don't know, it's... they just need to focus a little more on what they want to do.
Exactly. Apart from the parties.
Yeah, apart from it doesn't work.
So you thought about this show director nights.
So I was quite surprised when they called me up, and when your office called me, and when you spoke to me about it, and I didn't take it very seriously, because I was like, you know, abhi to COVID khatam ho, abhi to hum log kaam kar rahe hain, I mean, don't bother me. I don't want any gratification. I mean, I don't want any acclaims. I just want to work, because we were just enjoying so much getting back to work. So I know Aishwarya was trying to call me, and she was trying to chase me from your office, but you know, we were just enjoying it so much. It's a great idea. You know, now that it's calmed down a bit, and you know, work is happening at a steady pace. But I honestly feel that a show director is honestly still a very, very small part, and a very integral part, but a small part of what you see in a fashion show. It's the models, it's the light director, it's all of us together. So what you see there really is not just, of course, the show director is the captain of the ship, but without you know, the others, you can't. I mean, so many times I've choreographed a show, and the model has just come and killed the bloody ramp. She's just killed it, she's massacred it. So you just feel that you feel so helpless at that time. And that's when you feel, you know, I was so tough in my casting, and how come I didn't notice this? So so it's you know, it's a great thing to acknowledge. It's a lot of hard work that we do, but yes, we're just one part of a huge team that puts a show together.
Modesty. Thank you. What is your funniest moment till now?
Well, there are very funny moments, you know.
You can tell us 2.
There are many, many, and you know, I wish you could hear the clear calm of a show director. You will really laugh, the funny things that happen. But there was one particular one which I can never forget. I think it was for the Haryana government. We were doing a show, and it was huge. The show was huge, and the set was huge. And we had put up these beautiful pillars, which were about 14 feet each. So there were 15, 16 pillars all around. And I had choreographed in such a way, and there was a very, very beautiful model, and a very successful model called Meher Basim. So Meher has been my muse for quite a number of shows, and the choreography was that, okay, she does her entire routine, and then she waits for the other 3 girls, and she puts her hand on the pillar, and you know, she just holds it there. And she used to make a complete S with the body. And I'm on the head ramp, on the technical console, and I suddenly, and her hand is there, and suddenly I see the pillar is gone. The pillar is just fallen feature in the Maidan. Thank God it was on a Maidan. Suddenly we had one less pillar on stage. Meher's hand was still there. So I was like, wow, this happens. This actually happens. I don't think, because it was a a huge show for a huge audience. I don't think so many people noticed and there were so many pillars, but I knew that cue and I saw that pillar go down. It was too funny.
And her hand is like
And
there.
her hand was still there. I mean, look how professional the models were.
I mean,
She
wow.
didn't even glance back at pillar. Nahi hai, gaya. Her hand was still there. The pillar's back gone. So it's too funny. I can never forget it.